everybody.
I'm Miranda.
And I'm Lucas.
And we are from that JORVIK Viking thing podcast. Today we are going to be playing the Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour. We're going to be exploring Jotunheim and Valhalla. But before we do that, we just kind of wanted to tell all of our virtual audience around the world what other kind of virtual live stream stuff we've got going on this week.
Yeah, this week, of course, is the JORVIK Viking Festival that kicked off just yesterday. And that includes a set of online content as well. So tomorrow, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, we'll be having Vikings in Ireland, where I'll be having a conversation with Matthew Lester from the National Museum of Ireland. We'll be looking at the archaeological collection there and seeing what we can learn about Viking history over there from those objects.
On Wednesday the 15th, we will have from 7 to 9 p.m. UK time the annual Helen Thurza Admin Lecture. This year, the topic is Silver, Slaves, and Yorkshire, all done by Jonathan Shepherd from the University of Oxford. So make sure to tune in for that.
On Friday the 17th of February, there will be History Plays in York, History Underfoot, Staging the Past in York. Quite a wordy title, that one. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. online again. UK time. This will be a chance to hear from Rebecca Benzie and Ben Poor, who are lecturers in theatre at University of York, all about the city's long track record of staging history plays and how our theatre archives can shed light on performances in the past.
And then our final live stream is on Sunday the 19th, and it's a bit of an all-day one from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. UK time. And this is the Richard Hall Symposium at the edges of the Viking world, talking about trade and exploration during the Viking Age. So make sure to tune in for that one as well. But I think we've got one event that kind of, overshadows all the others.
Yeah, one event which, if you can make it to York, on Thursday the 16th of February, we'll be having that JORVIK Thing podcast presents What the Hell Is That?
Now, that is hell with a singular L, after the goddess in Norse mythology. But it's a bit of a pub quiz. It's a bit of kind of like every corny game show you've ever seen. Now, thankfully, for my fellow non-Viking-y people, you don't have to be a Viking expert in order to win this game. You'll need to be a bit clever about, kind of funny stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. So if you can make it, definitely do. This is all at Brew York. And if you come dressed as a Viking, you get 15% off. So
yeah. 18 plus, we must stress. Is
yes.
That a pub?
Yes, definitely.
But anyway, that's enough about all the other events. Let's do this event now.
Let's do this event.
So we're back in the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla Discovery Tour. So just a reminder, in this version, we don't go around stabbing people. This is the educational version of it, using the same game engine, of course. And we explore Viking Age Norway, Anglo-Saxon England, following the plot line. It's Thorstein Silvertongue, was the chap we met last time.
Yes.
His wife Gunhilda. There's another character named Aelric, an Anglo-Saxon monk, but he doesn't really overlap into this story because it gets a bit pagan now.
It does, yeah.
So you may recall last time we were playing Chapter 7, where we explored the city of York, known as Jorvik at the time. And we had a look at Coppergate Market, of course. Mm-hmm. That's where the main characters traded at the time. We looked around the city a bit, at the architecture, all inspired by archaeological evidence from York. And the main character, Thorstein, he mysteriously vanished at the end.
Disappeared.
He went off with Bjorn, who throughout the other chapters, he's not a nice chap.
Yeah, bad vibes.
And we were told that Gunhilda spent many years searching for Thorstein and never found him.
I mean, he probably died, right?
Let's find out, because we are playing as Thorstein Silvertongue once again. So in this chapter, where fates align, we don't have a date. It says question mark, question mark, question mark. Everything else was definitely firmly in the 9th century.
So we're a bit outside of, maybe normal time and stuff.
We don't even know where we are.
Ooh, spooky. Looks icy.
Yeah.
A little bit chilly. Ooh, he's alone in a strange place, unaware of the events that led him there. Must find a way to remember if he is to find his way home. So do we think he just doesn't remember anything?
Well, let's find out. He's got some sort of amnesia. Unknown. Question mark, question mark. Maybe a heavy night.
Oh, are you so quick to forget? I don't trust him.
Ooh, is she talking about that guy who, he went off with?
Bjorn, we don't like him.
What's happened?
Oh look, a reindeer.
I can't remember.
I don't think this is Jorvik, because there are no reindeer roaming the streets of York.
Unfortunately. Ooh.
Oh.
Somebody
Now,
there.
there's a gentleman riding a reindeer.
Come over here.
Thor.
Don't be
And it is
shy.
Thor! So we all know who Thor is, of course.
We do.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth, does it?
not really,
Where am
no.
I?
Jotunheim, land of the giants. Loki thought it would be fun to play a trick on you humans.
I need a word with him.
Feisty! Don't waste the time. Loki's always up to no good. He probably did it
Got
so
some
I
gold
wouldn't
armors
notice him
there.
stealing
Thor
my
must be a
stuff.
high-status gentleman, I
Scoundrel was
think.
I would expect so, yeah.
Must be a dream.
His hair colour is correct as well. He's supposed to be... He's not blonde like he was in the early Thor
Oh,
films.
that's disappointing. Well, I was going to say, yeah,
And I
he's
wouldn't
less
be
blonde
stuck
now.
cleaning up
He's riding a
Loki's messes
reindeer.
anymore.
Which
Yes.
is interesting.
Hold on.
In the mythology, I
Jotunheim.
don't think he rides a reindeer. I think
Are
it's
you
a
supposed
gameplay
to be
decision.
Thor, the
But
giant
reindeers were
slayer?
already programmed into the game.
Fair.
Remember what he does ride?
I
Take
do,
your
yes.
word
I'm
for
sure
it.
you told me his chariot is
My
pulled
mind
by
feels
goats.
Yes.
That doesn't seem kind of like,
do not
you
worry
know,
about that.
grand enough,
We will have to
really.
restore your
Difficult
memory
to
to find out
program
where you belong,
physics
Henry.
into a game for that, I'd imagine, yeah.
You must help me.
Now,
You've
for
got
I
to-
possibly do that the
For
God of
anyone
the people
interested,
cannot?
tomorrow
I need you to
our
find my
next
gauntlets and
podcast
belt.
episode comes
Without
out,
them,
and this
I
one
cannot
is
use my
about
hammer.
Thor, and
Without my
specifically when
hammer,
Thor goes
It
fishing.
will not last long.
Now,
A
he
village
doesn't
full of giants.
find normal stuff.
So I need you
No,
to
he
handle
finds
it.
very weird stuff.
Once
He
you
does,
get
so
my
make
face,
sure to
we'll take you
download
to
that.
the Well of Mimir. Easy.
Ooh, the Well of
So, we've had
Mimir.
a dump of mythology
Will not be
trivia
hard.
on us just there,
Once
haven't we?
or not. But I will be waiting for you here.
So we appear to be in Jotunheim, the land of giants, literally giant home. And he's mentioned that his objects have been stolen, his belts and his gauntlets. So we all know about his magical hammer, of
We
course.
do. I don't see it though. Is he carrying it? Do we think,
Um,
or is he like put it somewhere safe?
well, I think Thor. I remember there's one source that says he can shrink the hammer down if he needs to,
Ooh.
so he can wear it like around his neck or something. So maybe he's done that.
That's quite useful.
But also, remember in Marvel, he needs to be worthy to hold it, doesn't he? Which stops other people from ever using
True.
it. In the mythology, he has a pair of special gloves called his Jarngripper, the iron grip. He needs those to wield the hammer properly. Is he shivering?
It should look like it.
Man up, Thor. And his belt, Megingjord, I think it's called, doubles his strength as well. So he's got all these extra accessories.
It sounds like, you know, the prototype for Wonder Woman, really.
Yes, yeah. Needs a lasso of truth, doesn't he, as well? There's some people here. So, we're in
Ooh.
Jotunheim.
It looks
but
like they're doing
these-
some hard work, or we think they're like, you know, here against their will. They do seem a little bit sad.
Yeah, these might be servants or possibly slaves. Slaves do occasionally pop up in the mythology as well.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be giants, though. I'm not 100% sure if these are humans. Agir's Hall. We spoke about him the other day.
We did, didn't we?
So Agir is a giant who is also a personification of the sea, I believe.
Now, Agir's Hall seems to, again, be normal size. So maybe
Yes.
we are giant size.
Yeah,
Who's to
Giants.
say? Ooh, they're blue.
it's the genie from Aladdin. I should also say as well, if you've got any questions about what we're encountering as we go along, do chat us a message.
Pop them in the chat.
Balgi made a cameo appearance in the Mead of Poetry episode we did the other week. He was the one
Yes.
who owned the mead, and Odin stole it from him, but Odin's the good guy, so he gets away with stealing.
See, I am like, this is the hill I'm gonna die on. Odin's not a good guy. Sorry.
He's got good intentions, just terrible.
Does he? Does he? What was? Oh, I can't remember what Odin's code name. Well, not his code name. He gave like a false name in that episode, didn't he? And
Yeah.
what was it, like Mischief Maker or
They're always
something?
Horrifying names.
Yeah.
I am terrible manipulator, murder man, or something. Oh, we've got a question just come through. Was Thor a serious
Great
character,
place to
or more
hide
fun and comical like in the films?
So this is actually a point that I talk about in the episode that's coming out tomorrow, because it, like, the entire Thor goes fishing for the Midgard Serpent episode is just so funny. Thor is just kind of like the epitome of, like, to use a Gen Z term, a himbo. He is just a bit like derpy. He doesn't seem to know what's going on really, and what he cannot figure out with his smarts, he just kind of throws his hammer at,
Yeah.
which I love.
that myth, and there's the one where his hammer gets stolen, and he has to dress up as a bride.
As a bride, yeah, he gets married. He almost gets married to a giant.
Yes.
Yeah.
They come across a bit like sitcoms, those ones, because a lot of these myths, they are there for entertainment. They're not just like Bible stories.
Well, so I
like
think you
that.
called him a sitcom, didn't you? Like in our episode, and it is. I mean, it would have been the Viking equivalent of a sitcom, really. So I think I've just found the gloves. But I do want to bring up the thing that I just dove in right here, because I believe this was in our episode as well for the Thor one. So Thor goes fishing for the Midgard serpent, but all of that is to do with this big cauldron here, which seems to be the only cauldron big enough to brew enough beer for Thor.
Yes, he is a thirsty alcoholic chap.
Yes. just very, very thirsty. But in the myth, I think it was a mile deep, wasn't it?
That was a little bit shallower, this depiction
just a
here.
bit.
For gameplay reasons, understandably, I think. And it's in the correct place as well. He took it to Aegir's hall, didn't he?
He
That's
did.
where we are now,
He
yeah.
did.
And Aegir's repaid him by stealing his belt and throwing it at the bottom. So we've got to find his gloves now, his yarn draper.
It sounds like you're saying like yarn, like, you know, what somebody would knit with.
That's for the Norns, not for Thor.
There we go.
So it's interesting the depiction of the giants they've gone for here. I think they've gone for a frosty look to them, haven't they?
Yeah, but we've talked about that a little bit before, haven't we?
Yeah, the mythology, it's not great on descriptive imagery, I have to say. You kind of don't really get a sense exactly of what a lot of characters look like. You don't get kind of outfit descriptions or skin colour, hair colour coming up very much. And geographical things barely come up at all. So you like Jotunheim, for instance. We don't really know what it looks like so much. Now the giants, they're sometimes horrifying. Do you remember when there was one in the Cauldron Quest, the fishing story, that had 900 heads?
Oh, yes. Yeah, and they were just like, oh, and this guy's ugly 9-headed grandma.
Yeah.
Like,
you get these freakish kind of giants that pop up occasionally. But then the other ones, they seem to be quite normal. Sometimes big, sometimes regular sized. And sometimes the gods think they're really attractive as well. There's one myth where I think it's the god Frey. He sees from a distance a giant's head and turns to a servant, Skirnir, and goes, "Wow, she is beautiful. I am marrying her. Go propose to her for me."
It's like when you'd have your friend pass a note to somebody you liked in school.
Yeah. So sometimes they clearly intermarry. I think a lot of the major gods are actually half giants. But obviously they want to make them look like different species in the gameplay.
Make it obvious, yeah.
I think in a lot of modern fantasy, we imagine, you know, elves are like this, dwarves are like that, orcs are like this, as very distinct categories, and they're a bit more loosey-goosey in the Viking Age, I think. The things like giants, just whatever you want them to be for the purpose of the story. And in Assassin's Creed, they're the baddies. They're weird. They're giant.
They seem lovely. They don't seem to mind me climbing all over their crap.
They're quite chill, aren't they?
Chill. Was that a pun? Nice giants.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
Grim. Okay, so I've got the belt and the gloves.
Yeah. Should we take a look around the scenery here as well? So we've got it's very cold here, as we can see, and there is a big freaky thing over
old
there.
Tree, I think.
So that is Yggdrasil.
Ah, the world tree.
Yes. So Yggdrasil seems to span the universe, and Jotunheim is described as being within its roots. So that seems to be quite legit here, doesn't it? Those appear to be the roots of the tree reaching directly into Jotunheim.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's runestone there. You don't have time to translate it, I think, though.
It says I can have a panoramic view, so let's have a little look. Well, that's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
So I remember you telling me once that in the roots of Yggdrasil was a weird little animal. Was it a squirrel or something?
These roots is where the dragon is, the big serpent.
My bad. Squirrels, dragons, same
It is the
thing,
same
really.
story, to be fair. Nidhogger, the giant serpent that seems to nibble on the tree and cause it pain. I think he also devours bad people who go to hell, one elf. And he will survive Ragnarok and do all sorts of nasty things, apparently. At the top of the tree is an eagle, whose name escapes me, and Ratatosk the squirrel runs up and down between the two. And Ratatosk is a pretty random character because they just sort of spread mischief for no obvious reason. So it will come down to this sort of level, talk to the dragon and go, "Hey, the eagle says you're crap," or something. And then run up to the top and do the same to the eagle, saying, "Hey, the dragon says you're really lame." But the geography of, like, the mythology world, it's quite confusing to follow at times. It's quite inconsistent from story to story. So in this case, I think they've very much gone for this idea that Jotunheim is a separate world. I don't feel like we're anywhere near Jorvik.
No, it doesn't feel like it does it.
Some of the stories make it seem like Jotunheim walk there or ride a horse there. It's somewhere to the north.
Maybe just a different part of the
Maybe somewhere to the
land.
east.
Yeah.
I'm sure one source makes it seem like you've got kind of our world of like Europe, Asia, and Africa in the middle, the ocean, and then Jotunheim's like a donut-shaped continent surrounding it.
Oh God!
So
Did they perpetuate flat Earth?
Maybe, yeah. It's kind of like Aslan's country in Narnia. There's kind of other land that surrounds the central world. Yeah.
Shall I talk to Thor?
Yeah, let's tell Thor
What's
we've
your
got the stuff
problem
for
with
him.
those giants? They seem pretty peaceful to me.
They belittled me.
Oh man, scandalo.
That
All
happened
right.
last night in the
Let's go.
Ting Tang Theatre story, didn't it? At the banquet.
It did at the banquet.
All got very belittled. These silly history boys were there.
They were, yes. Do you think Thor is ever weirded out when he meets someone who's named after him? Because we've got Thorstein here.
Yeah.
Are we going to
Thor's
Midgard?
clearly the most
Oh.
popular of the Viking gods, because his name
Must
is
be certain
used so
Midgard is
often.
where you're meant to be.
Find it in
We
place
will know.
names. For example,
name
I think
sounds
the
familiar.
capital of the Faroe
Far back
Islands
as I
is
can
Thor's
remember,
Haven,
my father
Thor's
Odin
Harbour,
has craved
and other
knowledge
places across
and wisdom
Scandinavia
of
have
any
Thor
kind.
in them. But yeah, when you read
But
the
he came to
sagas,
be obsessed
every
with his
other
future.
character.
More
My
especially his
favorite
own
one that you've ever
downfall.
mentioned
So
is
he
obviously
too
Thor
drank
Grima
the
Witch
world's
Face.
magical
Yes.
water. To access it,
Just
he
in
had to
girls' names as well.
Yeah, it's
isn't
lovely.
It?
The world's gone.
Yeah. You get whole families where it's Thor Rolf is married to Thor Grima, and their daughter is Thor Bjorn, and their son is Thorstein, and it's
I
very
see.
difficult to follow, but
They
it
are
shows how much
told
they
to
love
acquire
Thor.
what you seek.
Exactly. You must be prepared. You won't get
Thorstein
out
is
of there
a
the same as you
natural
entered.
reindeer rider,
Yeah.
isn't he?
You will sacrifice.
It will take some
I'm reminded of
thought.
Princess Mononoke, the anime, where he rides the elk.
Where is
So-
he taking me?
The Well of Mimir.
So,
I
I mean,
think is
it
what it's
feels like Thor was blackmailing me a little bit. He's only going to help me if I help him find all of his stuff.
Yeah. I guess last time he had to dress as a woman and embarrass himself. Another question coming through. What's the different realms and worlds in the trees? So, off the top of my head, there are 9 of them. So we live in Midgard, the middle enclosure. So that word guard is like a yard or garden, an enclosed space. There is Asgard, the kind of enclosure of the gods. So that's where Thor and Odin live. There's Vanaheim, which is where this other family of gods, the Vanir, live. We don't know much about that place, besides the Vanir come from there. Jotunheim, where we are right now, where the giants dwell. There are the primordial worlds, Niflheim, the ice world, which was very similar to this, thinking about it. There's Muspelheim, the fire world. That's 7, isn't it? There's Alfheim, where the elves are from. And there's another one where the name varies. It's sometimes Svartalfheim, Dark Elf World, or Nidavellir. It's like where dwarves or dark elves come from. Most never come up in the stories, they just list them for no reason.
I like that all that information is just right there for you. I'm very impressed. All right, let's see what Thor says.
Here we are. Off you go.
You're not coming with me.
Do you really need more hand-holding?
Rude.
Go. I will wait for you.
He's lazy, isn't he, Thor?
Be respectful.
Probably been
Mimir doesn't have
drinking,
the
knowing
same
Thor.
tolerance
That's
for
fair.
mortals
Do
that
you
I
see the
do.
size of that cauldron?
Yeah.
What's that? There's that one thing from the mythology where he like keeps drinking and drinking out of his horn, right? But like,
Yes, that was in the story the Silly History
Yeah.
Boys told last night. Yeah, the big horn that's connected to the ocean is the trick. Or someone to talk to, isn't it?
ooh, he
He's not a
seems
god.
upset.
What happened?
I sacrificed the only thing I had, my hammer, my human vessel.
Mimir didn't grant you the knowledge you sought?
I
got a
wanted
nice
to
chin.
best my enemies, to see the looks on their faces as all their plans came to naught. Now I'm trapped here. I can never return to Midgard.
Well, you gave up
What's
your body,
the point
so I
of
don't.
outwitting your foes if
Yeah,
they'll never
Hammer, I've
even
not come
know it?
across that much before, but
I
I
see.
think it's one of these ideas
Be
about,
careful.
you know, we might
Learn
talk
from my
about soul
mistake.
and the
Don't
spirits and the
sacrifice
vessel and the
anything you will
mind.
regret.
The Vikings clearly had some sort of concept of that as well. Whether it's universal across the Viking world, I'm not entirely sure. At Jorvik, with archaeology, the human spirit doesn't come up very much as a topic of conversation.
Ooh, it's getting spooky.
Yeah. So the well of Mimir is described as being near the roots of Yggdrasil, so this seems legit so far. Yggdrasil also, I was going to mention earlier, it's a weird name. Ygr, it's terror. That's one of Odin's names, unsurprisingly.
Obviously.
Like, hello, I'm Terror. Let me in. Promise I won't hurt you. And Drasil seems to be like a horse or a steed, and I think it's a bad Viking
Terror
joke.
horse.
Because Odin rode a tree by hanging himself.
That's right, yeah.
So they're like, he rode it like it's a horse. You get it? And maybe it was funny in the 8th century, I don't know.
So that's weird. Why is there a big head?
So, Mimir, I believe that is. It's a very big head, isn't it?
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
So Mimir is a very mysterious character. He pops up just a couple of times in the mythology. So one of the sources, one of the ones that Snorri Sturluson wrote, he pops up quite a lot
I
in the
know,
mythology.
Snorri always.
There is a very mysterious war that was fought in very, very ancient times between the two families of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir. We know nothing about it, though. We're just told there was a war. Ooh, it was bad.
Didn't they make peace, though, by spitting in a bucket?
Did, yes.
Yum.
They also exchanged hostages as well. And Mimir is one of the Aesir who was sent to the Vanir. And long story short, they didn't like him very much, so they chopped his head off.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't look like they liked him very much.
And Odin, that lovely gentleman, took the severed head home with him, sprinkled magical herbs onto it, and he keeps the head and he whispers secrets into his ear.
Cool.
Mimir also has this lovely well, which is in front of us.
Beautiful.
And there's a story where Odin essentially plucks out one of his eyeballs in exchange for a drink from the well, which reveals secrets forbidden to him. So I'm not sure the chronology of which one of those two stories happens first. Was his head severed?
Simultaneously.
In this version, yeah. Happened at the
Sure.
same time. Yeah.
Should we interact with this
Yeah, let's
little
have a look
thing?
at these. So throughout the Assassin's Creed Discovery store are these little points to interact with. You get little educational tidbits. The well of Mimir, that's what I was just talking about. Mimir's Brunn.
So, according to Norse myth, the water of the well was magical. Those who drank it would be given great knowledge at a terrible price. I mean, Odin only had to sacrifice his eye. I mean, now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to give up my eye. But, like, that guy had to give up his whole body. That's not... doesn't seem fair.
It was a really nice eye. His favourite one.
Like, his very probably blue eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a bit creepy, isn't it?
Let's see. Ooh.
Enter, Thorstein of Midgard. I know what you seek.
I would hope so.
Reveal your sacrifice, and your desire may be granted.
Nice, bro.
As I know nothing of my past, and own nothing of value, I can only sacrifice my future.
Grim.
Ooh, haggle him a little bit.
I know.
Offer you a nice
Reaching the
brooch.
great hall of
What about these
Odin upon
shoes?
my death would be the greatest honor.
Recite a poem. Viking gods love
Wise
poems.
They do love
I
poems.
sacrifice to you my chance to ever enter Valhalla.
I'm sure we all know Valhalla.
You have chosen to sacrifice any hope to fight alongside Odin at Ragnarok. Let it be so.
Sparkly.
You may drink from my
He's
waters
got
now,
lovely eyes. I
and
think.
remember your past.
I wonder what it tastes like.
I know, it could be nice water, kind
The
of.
betrayal of someone close has brought you here.
I wonder who.
Died.
Oh, he did die.
Bjorn. Bjorn did this to me. Why?
You have the answers you sought.
No, I need to know. What happened to Gunhilda?
You cannot drink again. You have nothing left to sacrifice.
Wait!
Oh no.
Mimir, come back!
Oh god.
I mean, he didn't leave. I'm gonna do that from now on.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone's annoying me, I'm just gonna close my eyes.
Is seeing you again. The future.
I'll be good in customer service, wouldn't it? I've got a complaint. Goodbye. He's gonna just have his eyes shut till we go. I think he's gonna pretend he's like falling asleep.
I know. I mean, like, you're still in there, bro. Okay, then. That's a bit
Don't
strange.
poke him in the eye.
Well, he says I've got nothing left to sacrifice, but I
He's got a
mean,
nice pelt you can give him
exactly.
there, yeah.
Can chop off like a hand or something. He doesn't know.
So this raises a question of how long has it been since we were in Jorvik?
Ooh.
For us, it's been about a year in the real world.
Yeah.
Are we in the distant future now? Does time even mean anything?
Well, I was
in
gonna
the world of the
say,
gods?
yeah. They're kind of ageless, aren't they?
Yeah, and the chronology of the stories makes absolutely no sense when you read the mythology. I think it's very wibbly wobbly. So
Now, something I did want to say is like, Mimir just said that we sacrificed our chance to fight alongside Odin at Ragnarok, right? Because that's what Valhalla is, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, another
Boot camp.
exhibit A, really, in why Odin, in my opinion, is a terrible entity. Like, he just collects the souls of people who die, right? And then he puts them to work until this battle that he knows he's going to lose.
Yeah. It's very futile. his
Grim.
attempts. So he's quite a tragic character, really, Odin.
Yeah.
But there are many different other afterlives in Norse mythology, which are very mysterious. Valhalla's one we know most about. It's possible that some Vikings wanted to go to the other ones.
And I think I remember you saying once that Valhalla has like 900 doors or something.
Yeah, I did make some little notes on that because I forgot the figure exactly. How many was it in Valhalla? Hundreds and hundreds of doors. I think it's so that they can all march out side by side.
640 doors.
640 doors.
That's
Very weird.
so specific.
Not 600, not 700.
640.
So they can all march out side by side and face
Their
their
death.
inevitable second death, I suppose.
Now, look at this.
and,
It's obviously Thor's chariot.
Yeah. So once again, I think the efforts of making a fully rendered magical goat just for one little scene here, they've gone for the models that I think you saw those in Jorvik as well as decoration.
They're cute.
It's magic, no, that's magic.
I love them.
You knew I was dead all along?
There was a high chance, yes. I do not know of death as you humans do. To us gods,
Not yet. Wait
death
till
is only
Ragnarok.
part of an
Bum,
endless
bum.
cycle of rebirth. Until
there we
Ragnarok,
go.
that is.
Well, I don't have
Sorry
that
for
privilege.
always bring that up.
What am I to do now?
I could take you to the Norns.
Oh,
Only they will
they're
know where you ought
mysterious.
to go.
I'm tired of being thrown around like a wet cloth. Is this the god's humor?
Only Loki's. I hate that he's
So
using
Loki,
my
of course,
people
is the
against
trickster. He's always
You were
doing
caught in the
utterly
middle.
random
me.
bad
I am
stuff.
sorry.
I mean,
With no motive
excuses
for
will
as
bring
well.
me back
So
to
poor
life.
Thorstein.
There. My faithful goats Tangrisnir and Tangnjoster will take us to Asgard. To the Norns.
to the goats
This
of Thor,
is your
when they're not
chariot?
made of straw.
You cannot
He
see
can
its true
also
form.
kill them,
Do not be fooled
cook
by my
them,
goat's
Yeah.
and eat
size.
them,
They are
He waves the
mightier than
hammer over them,
100 giants.
and they rise again the next day
is the
alive.
hammer
Shall we
like a
go?
magic wand? Oh
Pretty
my
much,
god.
yeah. So we tend to imagine it just being whacked on the heads of giants.
Yeah.
But he does blessings with it as well. He takes it to a wedding at one point, and they go, let's bless it with the hammer.
That's nice.
He, at one of the gods' funerals, he sort of waves it over
No.
the funeral pyre.
I want
Sounds
to
a bit
stay
weird,
for-
but there's some sort of magic in it.
You know where to find me.
I think its name is supposed to mean something like Crusher or Destroyer. So-
Did we want to look at anything else here, or shall we
well,
go to the Norns?
was there anything else to look at here? Let's look at the thing. We spoke about the realm, the giants. Again, I'm not sure who these people are. They come for a little drink.
Maybe they're,
Um,
well, maybe Loki brought them here too.
Yeah. Let's have a think. There's not much else. Anything else? Any questions about Jotunheim before we
Move on.
A little splash on the camera there. So Jotunheim, the gods also go here quite a lot in the stories. Just on like little hikes. It's quite nice, really.
That's lovely.
They go on camping trips.
Just a bit of fresh air. Ooh, look at all
We-
these arrows here.
Oh yeah. Oh. So there are some battles. They're not just on hikes here, clearly. Yeah. we get this impression often that the giants and the gods absolutely hate each other. They're always having parties as well. They're like two frat houses, really,
Frenemies.
Asgard and Jotunheim. They're like, oh, let's go to Agir's Hoard. He's got a keg. Let's go around his house. It's all the way in Jotunheim. Oh, get the reindeer out.
All right. Shall we go find the
let's
Norns?
move on to the Norns.
Norns. Let's do it. Okay.
A little bit of Old Norse in the background there as well.
Where?
The characters, if you listen, the sort of ambient dialogue, they're actually talking in the correct languages. In Jorvik, some are doing Old English as
Ready?
well.
That's nice.
So a lot of research has gone into this game.
Yes. I can't stand the sight of this place anymore.
Kind of beautiful.
That's a
but-
bit dramatic, but
So,
look at him all sad.
taking the magic goats to go see the Norns. Ooh.
They ride towards the well of...
Urdur.
Sure.
um,
Now, are those the Norns there?
yes.
What are they doing?
So, the Norns are some of the most mysterious and enigmatic characters in the whole of Norse mythology. So enigmatic, I've got to refer to the notes I've made to remember their names. They don't pop up very often. A cat! So, this well is named after one of the Norns, Urdur, or Urður. The other two are Vithandi and Skuld, but that's not a Norn.
Ooh. A mysterious man with one eye. I wonder who that is.
I had to see for myself.
Must be in disguise, clearly.
I've come to seek the Norse council and find an end to this meandering.
So, whilst he chats to Odin, let's see. Did the giants appear at the same time as the gods? So, the giants were actually the first things to appear in the whole universe. The first living things, at least.
Well, I think there was something
these
with like
cats
a
seem to approach
a
them
goat
just
that
fine.
like... No, there was like a
It's
cow.
a cat, always a cow, yeah. So many weird cows. Cows and bulls haunt Norse mythology. Yeah, we have Ymir, Ymir, the first, the primordial giant, who was spawned just out of rocks of condensing liquid, as you do. Ymir, by
What
himself,
about my wife?
births a whole
Gunhilda?
dynasty
Do you
of
know
the
where she is?
Jotuns, the Jotnar, or the Giants. His legs have sex
are
with
in
themselves
Asgard,
and sweats them like his armpits. It's a very weird world in Norse mythology. A big cow then appears, Alfumla.
And then licks some ice, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and frozen inside a block is the first of the gods, and that is Odin's grandfather. So you've got giants, cow, god. Is the order of.
I like that cows existed before the
yeah.
gods. That's
one of the most
sure.
ancient of all life forms.
Take your time. There's nothing that I like more than waiting around for a human to take an insignificant decision.
Well, okay then.
That's a creepy voice,
That's
isn't
a bit
it?
rude. Now, these Norns remind me of like the the fates in Greek mythology.
Yes, the ones on Disney's Hercules.
Yeah.
The one eyeball they share between them all. So there is something. There are some parallels definitely here.
I can't go talk to them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you can have a swim. Oh, they're flying. They're very magical. So I'm not sure what the mythology says about going for a swim in the well of the Norns.
It's probably not very good for you, but I'm already
yeah,
dead and I can't go to Valhalla, so...
The seaweed seems to be happy though.
Yeah.
So the Norns, we don't really know very much about them. Their well is at the roots of Yggdrasil, a bit like the place we just were. And they decide the fates of everything, basically. They're quite neutral figures.
That's nice.
They're not good or bad, but you can catch them on a bad day, I think, and they might weave you a bad fate. Sometimes they're described as weaving, as they are here on these lovely warp-weighted looms, very much like the one you can see
On the ride at the JORVIK Viking Center.
and Catalog.
I might not leave. I can pet all the kitties here.
They're sometimes described as carving fates, I think, into bits of wood as well, which sounds a bit weird. And it's unclear how many Norns there actually are, because once again, the mythology is quite inconsistent. These three that we see are the primary ones that pop up that are named. But other sources, there's one where there's a big dragon named Fafnir, who with his dying breath just says loads of mythology trivia, as you would do when you're dying,
Sure.
of course. and just talks about all the other norms. The norms sound like there are dozens, if not hundreds of them. He says some of them are elves, some are dwarves, and some are giants.
Oh, well, that way they're fair to everybody, maybe.
Yeah, like a job you could apply for, maybe, I'm not sure. And occasionally, if bad things happen in a saga, they might go, oh, you must have had an evil Norn or something. As if you get one assigned to you at birth.
Like bad luck,
and you call her, you know, oh, you got her, that's your caseworker. Oh, she's woven you a terrible place.
So, shall we go with Odin? There doesn't seem to be much to do here.
Yeah.
Seems to be getting a bit impatient anyway.
Have you decided to leave yet?
Yes, obviously.
Has a raspy
Alright,
voice, isn't it?
How do I get out of here?
It will take longer for me to explain than to just
I like that.
send
Drop
you
your
away.
application at Mimir as
Good
well.
luck.
Norn wanted.
So Odin mentioned there that he's tried to change his fate, which is impossible in Norse mythology. Basically, the future is predetermined, but Odin keeps trying, bless him, which is why he recruits all his soldiers for Ragnarok. Now, this is very different.
Yes. Now there are more kitties here.
Yeah,
So obviously that's the best part of the game.
yeah. So we're on a...
So we're in Asgard, right?
Yes.
And this is the Rainbow Bridge.
Yes, so this is the Bifrost. So this is what the gods seem to use to travel between their realm and other realms. So when you see a rainbow in the sky, maybe that's Thor riding his wicker goats or his reindeer. Yeah, it's kind of like their portal, I suppose. Like I said earlier, the geography of Norse mythology is a bit hard to follow. It might be a way of travelling between these different separate realms, or maybe it's just a shortcut, like a literal bridge might be.
So I'm looking for Idris Elba,
Yes.
but I don't seem to
Yes.
be able to find him.
So Asgard, we've got a lot of halls in Asgard. Over here at this end of the bridge is the home of Heimdall.
Now, my favorite thing you've ever told me about Heimdall is the fact that, like normal people, he was in utero for 9 months, but that was 9 different uteruses for one month each, I think.
It's one idea, like maybe, yeah. Maybe he's made of 9 pieces.
All assembled.
Yeah, it's very enigmatic, Heimdall.
But he's got 9 mountains.
Yes. And he seems to be very important in Norse mythology. For some reason, his stuff didn't get written down. So I wish we knew more about Heimdall. He's secretly amazing. He has an ability, he can see really far away, of course. He watches out for the giants for Ragnarok. So hopefully it's a long time to Ragnarok, but he'll be waiting a very long time. He also can hear things very well too. He's described as being able to hear wool growing on sheep, and he can see blades of grass growing from miles and miles and miles away. So very important chap Heimdall.
It seems a little bit like not the coolest powers you could have, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So I guess I should go back the other way since
Yeah.
I can't meet a celebrity here, so that's fine.
It's a nice view of Asgard we've got from here. So many, many halls. I did make a list of all the strange names of all the halls of Asgard. Let's see. Should we start with Heimdall's one?
Of course.
Himinbjorn.
Sure.
That's described as a pleasant place where Heimdall happily drinks good mead.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a lot of alcohol in Norse mythology, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I'm sure in is it the Havamal, where Odin says to avoid drunkenness at all costs, but also the man lives purely on wine, I think it is. Yeah.
A bit of a contradictory character, our Odin. Yeah, he describes drunkenness as an eagle flying above your head and taking away your kind of sense and sensibleness, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we've also got Valhalla, of course, is within Asgard, and Valhalla is described as being made and decorated with spears as kind of the rafters. We have chainmail strewn over the benches, shields everywhere, so it sounds like a man decorated it without a woman there.
The ultimate bachelor pad.
Yeah, it sounds like a little hunting den, doesn't it? No girls allowed. We've also got Sokvabek, where Odin and Sada drink together. She's a very mysterious goddess, but again, offer a drink. Likes his wine, our Odin. Thrymheim, which was home to the giant Thrym, now where Skadi lives. Valda lives in a very happy place, which is nice. Ray the Blip. No further description, just happy.
That's just a happy place. Sure.
Thor's Hall is the biggest, Bilskirnir. And Forsetti lives in a place called Glitnir, gold walls and a silver roof. Sounds like Donald Trump built it to me.
Now I'm following the cats, which is, I mean, I have a cat. This is what most of my life is following cats around. Now I'm following this cat.
Am I following them or are they following me?
There.
Yeah, I think that's on the lines of my cats. The cat thinks I'm her pets, I think. I'm not sure what Freya's relationship is like with her cats.
Okay, so do these cats belong to the goddess Freya then?
Yes. So Freya, for some reason, I think with cats, they don't come up very much, I have to say, in the mythology.
But so, like, you know, Thor has his chariot pulled by goats.
Yes.
Doesn't Freya ride a chariot pulled by cats?
She does, yes.
Now, I can't think of a worse animal to pick to pull my chariot than a
go
cat.
forward. No, not backwards, I said forward. Why are you going to sleep? They sleep for like 2/3 of the day, don't they?
They do, they do. Where? Come on, guys, let's
So once
go.
again, we've got lots of people here. These don't appear to be gods, but there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of minor gods that we know nothing about. So there's parts of the Eddas where Snorri Sturluson just throws names at us, and we're like, who is this? What? Who are you listing? These might be dead humans, of course, in one of the many, many, many afterlives.
Surprised they're even awake.
Well,
Yeah.
fair. I don't mean to keep petting them, but I'm also not mad about it.
Yeah.
So.
So, yeah, where were we? The goddess Freya. I think she is somewhere at the end of this trail. So she likes her cat. She's also got a golden boar, I think, as well. Gullinbursti. Freya is also, she's very heavily linked with witchcraft and sorcery. She introduced the gods to that as well.
Ooh.
So, ooh, what's that noise? Someone's
know.
yelling.
Oh, okay. So
Come here, my darlings. I've looked all over for you.
this must be Freya.
The original crazy cat lady.
Goddess Freya, I've brought back.
Thank you. I'm surprised they followed you here. Who are you?
Thorstein of Midgard. The All-Father sent me to see you. I've died, and I have nowhere to go.
I see. Odin knows I cannot resist the strain.
that turnip.
Listen, darling. Everyone
A bit
has
of wood.
somewhere they ought to be. Even you. Follow me.
Yeah, as you said earlier, you can't actually change your fate. So even though he thinks he's sacrificed his fate to go to Valhalla,
Oh, has he actually
technically
not
it's
sacrificed
impossible.
anything? Shall we interact with this?
Yeah, it's
What's
up to
this?
this. The goddess Freya
Oh, with
going.
her cats! Was renowned for her stunning beauty. She cared for women in childbirth and was linked to fertility. Freya was very skilled at magic. Look at that. That's cute. She looks like an alien there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they're very, very stylized, the depictions that we get.
Alright.
Reindeer again. Wow, they don't like horses clearly, do they?
No, not as magical as reindeer. Why do you think Santa Claus picked
Whoa.
reindeer?
She afraid to charge into that
I
guy.
lived a good and honorable life. Don't I deserve an honorable
I was
death?
wondering if Odin's horse would show up. 'Cause that's one with 8 legs, Sleipnir. But would it gallop
Will
like a
my
normal
wife be there?
horse, or would it scuttle
Have
like
you
a
seen
spider?
Gunhilda?
Ooh, I think,
With like all its legs
I
up
think
high.
the spider thing, yeah.
I'd go through 1,000 deaths if it meant
So
seeing her
Asgard
again.
looks lovely.
It does. A lovely spring day.
Got all these lovely halls scattered about.
It
Probably
does.
Many more than the ones I listed just now.
It does also look like it would drive my allergies crazy. There's a
Yeah.
lot of flowers.
Loki had
Yeah.
interfered with
Yeah.
my bread.
You would
So
have ended up
again,
just
the
where you
depiction
are
of all
now,
these
with
different
or without
worlds.
How can you tolerate his misdeeds?
like
It's
Jotunheim
the
and
one thing I
Asgard.
never
It's
understood.
unclear what they look like exactly. I think Asgard is described as having all these halls which sound insanely big and insanely decorated. But it's also like a country as well. So maybe there are fields and forests
Like
and stuff
further
scattered
out.
around. So yeah, with
He must have
Asgard,
done
maybe a city
something
in the
awful.
centre, perhaps.
The worst thing he could
It's very
possibly
unclear.
do.
There's a wall around Asgard, a lot of halls, and
One of your cats.
that's pretty much all we know. Elves wander about there as well.
My most
Some of those
precious
people we saw
possession.
might well have been
I'd give
elves.
anything for it.
Ooh, what is that?
Ooh,
Because of Loki?
Very cool.
we'll come back to that.
Looks a bit Valkyrie-ish, doesn't it?
It does.
So the Valkyries, of course, are the ones who choose it literally means the chooser of the slain. They choose the dead from the battlefield and bring them to Odin's Valhalla. Now, poor Thorstein here doesn't seem to have died on the battlefield. We don't know how he died exactly, but Bjorn was involved. So there are all sorts of different afterlives out there. There's one for drowned people, which Ran rules over. There's one for virgins, the dead one has.
These doors will take you to Foldvanger, my
Foldvanger.
kingdom.
Oh, we talked
Afterlife
about
of the
this one
slain
year at
and
a
righteous.
festival.
Just as
Our
luxurious as
banquet was
Odin's great
themed
hall.
after Freya's Hall. Alright.
And there we go, we've got a comment. Sleipnir, 8 legs, Loki gave birth to him. Yes,
Yeah.
Loki the shapeshifter. Ooh, that's close to his face.
Oh, this seems nice. What's happening here? Oh, it's his wife.
Gunhilda.
Lovely. She doesn't seem to have aged a day.
So I'm hoping that this takes place a very long time after the last chapter.
Yeah.
She lived a long, happy life.
I believe that Edda made a reference to Loki walking funny upon his return after he gave birth to the 8-legged horse. I bet, you know what? I'm sure he did.
I'll have to read that bit again, yeah. But Loki didn't appear in this chapter, but Loki is a shapeshifter, so maybe he was one of the cats, or one of the reindeer.
Maybe.
He can turn into pretty much anything he wants. Loki is an animal, basically. There we go. So for the storyline of Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour, that's the end of that plot line. The other ones take you all over Norway, England, and oh, here we are. Yggdrasil there.
Lovely.
I do think it's interesting that in the other chapters we follow the Anglo-Saxon monk, of course, and we learn all about Anglo-Saxon Christianity. Some of the Vikings convert to Christianity as well. But sucks to be them. The mythology's real. Volfanger's real. Oh no, they're becoming Christians.
So I can just keep
Let's
exploring
have a
now,
wander
can't
around.
I?
Yeah, just see if we can find anything else that's of interest. So,
Okay, so am I still in Freya's little hangout here? Shall we go back to the map?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. The Rainbow Bridge.
The Myth of Horned Helmets. Many times we have mentioned the Myth of Horned Helmets.
travel here.
not rehash that territory.
I've just started playing through the Forgotten Saga, which is the story of Odin's journey to rescue Balder from Niflheim.
I've not aware of that one.
I've not done that one. That's really good.
Yeah.
Maybe our next Twitch stream.
Yeah, it's interesting to mention there of Balder in Niflheim, because that's another place where some people go when they die. That's where hell rules over. And, it's Odin's throne.
Oh, someone says it's part of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, excellent. Great. So Balder seems to go there when he dies, which is interesting, because you'd think that as a god, can't you just go next door into Valhalla?
Well, yeah.
Up the street. It's described as quite nice, though, when Balder's there, because someone goes down to check on him, and there's a big feast to welcome him, there's gold everywhere. But in other texts, it doesn't sound very nice at all. It sounds a bit like you have a heaven-hell dynamic, Valhalla and Helheim, Hell. So, once again, Norse mythology, very confusing, very inconsistent, and very high up here.
We are. I wanted to see where this would take us on the map, and I'm not disappointed. This looks like a throne of some variety.
Yeah, so we've got the ravens on there, Hugin and Mooning, thought and memory.
So must belong to Mr. Odin.
Yes.
Boo.
He's probably out stealing souls or something, but all for a good purpose, all for a good charitable cause, of course. Yeah. You get a nice view of the Bifrost over there, the Rainbow Bridge.
Let's dive.
The classic Assassin's Creed to dive.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's worth mentioning again that because there's no combat in this game, your character is immortal, so you can
Thank
jump off
goodness
the top
for
of
me.
Asgard. He goes, ow, when you land.
I only play games where I can't die, like Animal Crossing, The Assassin's Creed Discovery Tour.
So, what else is there to see around here? So we've got, again, they've had to go for quite a stylized look here.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you know, with JORVIK, when we played last time, that was very heavily based on, like, actual archaeology that's been found. But, I mean, this is a made-up place, Asgard, so they kind of have to do a fun interpretation of it. Look at the rabbit.
Oh, not just cats here. Good. That could be Loki. Maybe it's Loki in disguise.
True. Or maybe this rock is Loki, who could say.
Have we been to the Forge? I don't think we have, no. We tend to stick largely to the route of the main storyline, but if we encounter it in our wonders, we shall have a look. Let's see, what else have I got that I've got in my notes over here then? So we chatted about the tree, about the Norns and Asgard, a bit more about Freya, I suppose. So Folkvanga is an interesting place where she took us. Folkvanga doesn't pop up very much at all in the original texts. And
so like with Valhalla, right? We know that like people who died in battle go there, I think, don't they? But what's the criteria to get into Folkvanga then?
Well, in one of the mentions we get of Folkvanga, it said that Freya... Oh, a squirrel!
This squirrel is enormous!
Is it Ratatosk?
Possibly.
Got a little scriptural note to tell that dragon down at the bottom to annoy it. Yeah, Folkvanga. So the goddess Freya, we're told that apparently she can choose half of everyone who dies in battle.
Oh, right, okay.
As if that her and Odin do a 50-50 split or something like that. So, in a sense, Freya is a little bit Valkyrie-like.
Yeah.
Like, Valkyrie literally is a chooser of the slain.
And she gets to choose
She's
them.
half of them. Is she the prime Valkyrie, maybe?
Maybe.
It's not outright said anywhere, but that's one possible interpretation. Folkvanga sounds pretty nice.
It looks very pretty.
There's no prerequisite of having to battle for eternity in there.
And,
so,
and then going to war after, you know, practicing battle.
There are worse places to end up, I think. Freya, as we said earlier, has magic, witchcraft. What else? Her name literally means lady as well. There is a theory that she and Frigg, the wife of Odin, may have once been the same goddess in a much older version of the mythology. There were kind of layers of interpretation to it.
I feel like you might have mentioned this before, because isn't Freya married to someone called Odd or something? And
so that's like
Odd is just basically Odin?
Yeah, it's like Lucas and Luke, isn't it really? So there's this guy she's married to called Odd, who travels a lot. It's like, well, that's Odin. That's all. Odin wanders the world, stirring up trouble, stirring up war to harvest souls for Valhalla to fight the giants.
We've just blown Odin's cover.
Yeah.
He actually is married to, you know, two women.
That's his least impressive disguise name, isn't it? I'm a Lucas, I'm Luke. Yeah.
It's in the Silly History Boys story that they tell for the podcast coming out tomorrow. I really like that they give Thor a secret name of Clive.
Yeah. Like all of Odin's secret names, they're things like Terror, Screamer, Evil Eye, Curse Eye, Evil Doer, Hooded One,
and Odd.
Yeah, and Odd, which means insane or mad as well.
Sure.
So Odin is the mad one. So yeah.
What are they doing? Oh, this is Odin. Looks like they're raging at him a little bit, you know? Is that Odin? No.
Well, they've got a sword that could be Frey. I think Freya had a sword that can fight by itself.
We've got Frey and Freya and Odd and Odin and...
The Frey and Freya literally mean Lord and Lady.
Ah.
So we think that maybe their titles once upon a time, possibly before the Viking Age, in an earlier kind of time in history. So Frey's name might have been something like Ingvi, we think, based on other sources. And Freya might have been Frigg, but then later on they kind of split into two very distinct characters. It reminds me a bit of like in sort of Terry Pratchett Discworld books. If you believe in a god, they appear in that form. So this goddess splits into two like mitosis or something. Because they firmly believe, no, Freya and Frigg are equal.
Ooh, look at this wolf.
Lovely doggo. Excellent. So wolves, along with cows, pop up quite a lot Geri and Freki are the wolves of Odin. They don't do very much, they just sort of sit there with him. Nice little dogs by his throne, gives them food. It's following you. I believe somewhere in Asgard you can find the giant wolf Fenrir chained up as well.
Shall we look at the map? Where do we think that might be?
It's on the. I think it's on the central island, if I remember from last time I played. But we can have a wander around, see if we come across him.
So this must be where Heimdall's hangout was,
yes.
right? And
little island chain Asgard here. So yeah, Fenrir is the wolf that will devour the sun at the end of the world. One of Loki's many weird kids.
Now, is Fenrir the one that was foiled in a rather peculiar way?
Yes.
In the myths?
Yes, so firstly he is kind of imprisoned, or chained up I should say, in a strange way. They make a really good chain, doesn't work. Make a second, even better chain, doesn't work. Then they make a ribbon, but the ribbon is made of impossible things. So it's stuff like the breath of a fish, the beard of a woman, and the noise a cat makes when it lands. And that's where the god Tyr has to put his hand in the wolf's mouth. He goes, "Look, we're not tricking you. Just to prove it, I'll put my hand in your mouth, mate. It's fine." And they are tricking him. They tie him up, and then he gets his hand bitten off.
I mean, that's not a bad trade to make, you know.
But once again, it doesn't really work. Ragnarok's still going to come.
Well, fair.
And it was suggested, why don't they kill Fenrir?
Yeah.
But it's pointed out... Ooh, what is that?
I don't know.
It's pointed out that they can't spill blood in the holy ground of Asgard. So that's
that seems
why
like a convenient get out.
they've not killed him. Oh, this is very interesting.
Must be part of the main storyline.
Yeah, so we do encounter things from the main game here.
Which we don't interact with on the Discovery Tour.
Yeah. There are no, like, Knights Templar or Assassins in this version of the game. And yeah, Fenrir will be defeated at Ragnarok by one of Odin's many sons, the god Vithar, silence god, who's got a massive shoe.
Now, you told me that this shoe is made out of every little scrap of leather that Vikings have tossed out.
Yes.
What a crap weapon, I do have to say.
Well, it's clearly effective, because Odin's got his magic spear, of course, and
Yeah.
he loses. Fenrir will eat Odin. But the big shoe wins. He steps on the lower jaw, and the wolf is like, can't close my mouth. And then Vithar will kill him. So a few of the gods will survive at Ragnarok, but sadly for Odin, he is not one of them, so that's to be him. Anything else in the chat there at all?
Apparently you can make that chain that you were talking about in the game, but again, this is unfortunately it's not part that we engage with on the Discovery Tour.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we'll play the full-fledged Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, so they did a lot of good research for this game.
They really did.
Well.
Last time we talked with one of the people who helped create it, and they just did years of research. It's incredible, really.
And considering that Assassin's Creed, ultimately it's a sci-fi game, really, isn't it? It's, you get plugged into a machine and go back in genetic memory to the Viking age. They did a really good job of blending together kind of historical figures and the architecture, the mythology, things like that, with a layer of sci-fi sprinkled over the top of it, of course.
Let's go back to the map, shall we?
Any other questions for us at all about Mythology, Assassin's Creed? Nothing about development though, we did not make the game. We cannot answer those questions.
Can I go there?
That's a map marker you've placed there.
Oh, man.
It's the big, sort of the birdie symbol. You can.
I would just like to remind the viewers that I don't know what I'm doing.
How many dwarves can I name? Oh my god.
No.
Oh.
I really like that someone's putting you to the test here.
Okay.
Because usually it's just me asking him dumb questions. A couple of weeks ago, I had to double check that we were talking about mythology and not a saga. So
a lot of the dwarves, their names were borrowed by Tolkien for the hobbits. So I know some of those. We've got Gandalf, Thorin, Oakenshield, I think Fili and Keely. I don't think Oin, Loin, or Gimli are. Ori and Nori. And I think Biffa, Botha, and maybe Bomber. And then there's a load of others that Tolkien didn't use. I want to say Brocker is one that's something to do with making the tools like Mjolnir and Gungnir, the hammer and the spear. There are a lot of dwarves. There is this ridiculous part of one of the poems where an undead witch, who's been raised by Odin, because of course he's done that, just starts listing dwarves. And you're like, why are you doing this? This is not useful information. Why are you just listing names with no context? And he just throws dwarf names at us, and we don't really know who 9 out of 10 of them even are.
I feel like a lot of the mythology goes that way, though. It's just, oh, and here's how many of this thing I can name.
Yeah. A lot of the poems in particular, they come across as just like trivia quizzes or something. There'll be like, a dwarf turned up to Thor, and Thor asked, give me all the different names you can for the sun. Oh, well, the dwarves call it this, the elves call it that, the gods call it this. Oh, okay. What names are there for the moon? And it's not really a narrative here, it's just you're getting a vomit of trivia just all over you. And, yeah, the Eddas can be a bit of a difficult read first time around, definitely.
Fair. Well, I think we've had a pretty good explore of Asgard. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's a pretty place, and we'll definitely have to come back pretty soon.
Just shove that person out the way. Oh my god.
They're fine, okay? Now, just before we come to a close, I would just like to remind people, if you weren't here at the very beginning, that we do have loads of different live streams all throughout the week as part of the JORVIK Viking Festival. Tune into those. They're all on the What's On page on the JORVIK Viking Festival website. Especially tomorrow, Lucas will be talking to Matthew Lester from the National Museum of Ireland, talking about kind of Viking trade between Ireland and here.
Yeah,
and then
great artifacts to look at from Ireland.
I know that'll be really exciting. And then on Thursday, if you can come in person to York, we will be at Brew York doing a bit of a pub quiz. So hopefully we'll get to see you there.
Busy week, JORVIK Viking Festival.
But on that note, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great, and hopefully we'll see everyone soon.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.